Hello and welcome to Wikipedia Weekly Network. Here where Albin Larsson and I, Jan Ainali, are editing Wikidata live. How are you doing, Albin? Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! I'm doing great. I'm so happy that we are back here. I've really been looking forward to this. And how are you, Jan?
I'm good as well. And as you said in our tweet, we didn't stop editing Wikidata. We just stopped doing it during live streams. But now we're back with that as well.
Yeah.
I've been missing it too because it's another way of improving your thought process of working when you try to explain it what you're doing to someone.
Yeah. I kind of use it as well to generate ideas. So I usually, when I start explaining things while doing it, I realize that, I'm doing it this way. Maybe I could do it this way. And it becomes very prominent for me, the various ways I do things.
Yeah. And since it's a new year, today we're going to zoom in a little bit on 2022. Do you have any specifics that you want to get into?
I'm not sure if it's specifics, but I'm intend to make like a calendar query for things that are happening in 2022, and then kind of pick at random things that I find interesting and see how we can improve those items. So that's
Nice.
the plan. And you?
I'm sort of going towards a little bit of a similar place, but I had this sort of idea. We must already have a lot of items that have the thing 2022 in its label. And
Right.
it might even then be a suggestion, should it have a date with 2022 in it? So I tried to find those kinds of items.
Right. Yeah. I think we did something similar with like academic papers and things like that in the past.
Yes.
Yeah. As well as the Swedish laws and documents.
Yeah, so this is going to be a little bit similar, picking things together from what we've done in the past and making a new query out of that. So, of course, I'll start in the query service. Welcome back to this lovely view. And I'm just going to start with something really simple here. So I'll use the control space to autocomplete, and we get even when just starting writing select something here. And I'm going to go with this third option. It's sort of like a basic for creating a query of some kind. And when experimenting today, like there's so many items today and there's so many labels. So it's hard to do a query for 2022 on all labels. So you almost need to specify it because otherwise it will inevitably time out. So I'm going to start a little bit in the same end as you, like looking at things happening because they are also most likely to have a relevant dates in the title. So we'll pick an item. I want it to be an instance of. And here I want to go with, and I went a bit up the tree here to figure out something. Like I started at event and then went to the subclass, and so temporal entity is the thing I think we want to use because that leads to a lot of different kind of events and things happening. And of course, there's hardly any items like this, so we need to make it a property path with subclasses here. And I'll just go with subclass here. And that's T279 and make a star out of it. So I didn't even try to run this one when I tried. Let's just run this, see if it times out or not. Because this will give us all kinds of events and things happening. It should be a lot. It might run out.
Yeah.
So I think today I'm actually going to use this limit to just narrow it down a little bit. And for a start, I don't need a lot of items. I just need a few to see that I'm going in the right direction. So I'm going to try this with limit 10 after this one times out. And after this, we're going to go into the tricky parts. I'm actually going to remove this label service immediately because I'm going to use something a little bit simpler, going directly for the labels, because otherwise I would need to specify all the languages. But 2022 will likely be the same, like with numbers in most languages. So I will remove this one. I'll see if this one times out. Yes, there it timed out. And let's try to limit 10 to see if we get something that should be fairly quick. It should be. It isn't.
Yeah, that's...
because it should find just the first 10 and just give them back to me and stop after that.
Yeah. So all this time should just be it looking through the subclass tree to find those first 10.
And maybe that one is also pretty big.
Yeah, I actually succeeded with the larger one when I used subclass of event earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be a fallback.
Yeah, that might be a fallback. But also we can go in here and start writing. Oh, here we got 10. And of course I didn't have the label here, so we just got 10 things. Let's take a look at one of them, see what it looks like. I don't even know what this is. All entered languages. Service water taxi. I'm not sure why this is in this tree. That's very strange. Is water taxi for some reason a subclass of public transport? Oh, it's recurring for some reason. All right, so here is something that's temporal. I'm not sure this is really good modeling, but I'm going to skip this for now. This is another rabbit hole for someone to dig into. Let's go here. I want to add getting the actual label here. And you can go with this RDFS and label and just call that item label. 44 seconds to get those 10. All right. So that's sort of a start. Now we're getting somewhere. But of course, we want to filter it for, it should have something with 2022 in it. So we'll add a filter here. And you can do that simply. And I think we did use the same one when we were doing probably both the journal articles and the parliamentary documents. So we can use the contains. And then this one wants to have first, like, which variable is it that contains something? And that's going to be the item label. And then it wants something, well, what should it contain? And we'll add a string for 2022.
Right.
And we'll see. This might time out. I don't know. I didn't try this one either. Oh, I did something wrong here. I'm missing one there. Let's see. So now hopefully we get 10 items here with the 2022 in the label. That's sort of the first half of this query, trying to find those items. And then we can just have a look at them and see what they look like. And I imagine we have a lot of these things. There's going to be books, articles, parliamentary motions, probably something like that. And there's going to be movies, events for sure.
Indeed.
All right. Yay. So we're here. We get some really, really exactly something like this I was looking for. Like we have a list of space flight launches in July to December 2022. And this will probably, it might not have yet, but in the end, it should have some sort of start date, end date, perhaps, or point in time. So we can have a look at this one and see if it has something right now. No, this is one is very empty because this is also in the future, so, so people haven't really had the time to look at it yet.
And also, it's a list, so the list itself might not have
that's
a
true.
start and end date.
Yeah, and possibly later this one will have some sort of things specifying to the specific spaceflight launches, because they might all be notable, perhaps.
Yeah. So it got a very odd instance of there that it was an instance of a space flight.
Yes, that we could probably fix that one, because it's not an instance of a space flight. It's not an instance of a rocket launch either. This is really wrong. So it should be. Let's just edit this one. This is a list article. I don't remember. Oh, I don't remember, but the auto suggest is really good here. It helps me a lot. So this is a Wikimedia list article. So we can publish this one, and then we can remove the rocket launch as well. That warning is, let's try to force it through. So it said like, oh, perhaps this one should be deprecated instead rather than removed. But this was like not something that changed over time to become wrong. It was just wrongly added to the statement. And then, of course, it could be have another thing like what is this a list of? I think there's a property for that, but that's also another rabbit hole. And the second one here, 2022 Colorado fires, looks also exactly like something that we would like. And this one actually has, all right, so this is a good example. This one has a point in time 2022. It perhaps should have, I don't know if this has already started or not, or if this is also a future thing.
I think it's something that's ongoing.
All right, yeah. So it should have a start date or something. I don't know.
I think that could be the start date.
But either way, this is something that in the end, I would hope that we wouldn't find this one, because this one already have the right thing set here. So that's where we're going to go next then. So now we have the way to find it here. So what we want to do now is a little bit tricky. So we want to find more items, and want to have them have a property, but I don't know which property yet, because there's a lot of properties with dates. So I'm going to call this one for, just to make it easy for me, date prop relation. That's the name I'm going to call this, and it can have a value of, well, let's call this date. And now with this, that's an annoying thing. All right, could I? No, it didn't come here. Now from this, I want to find out which actual property it is. So I'm going to find something called, let's call it property item. And it's going to have a wiki base. And I think this one is called direct claim with this date prop relation. Like this. So it's going to say something about, this is going to my limits, but I think this is sort of like the way to express that an item is using this property. And then I want this to be of a certain kind of type. And I found out here that's actually a really good query. I'm going to just quickly here. If you search for property type in the examples, property type, you have this example query, all properties with descriptions and alias and types. That's actually a quite good way to find all the properties, but especially finding out all the types that are in data types for properties and how they are called in the query service. So let's just take a quick look at that one. So it's a really simple query. So we'll just run it. And the thing in the end here is just ordering in the property number order. It's a little bit slow. We have something about 10,000 properties now, I guess. It gets me 9,525 results. That's actually fewer than I expected. And then here you see, like, this is the general one, like if it has points to another item, it's called Wikibase item. So let's scroll down here, and I think we're going to need to scroll quite a lot before we get to something with date. Because I also don't think that was one of the data types that was available in the beginning. So it took a little while before we got to that. And I think there are starting at something around 500. Let's see, 5. Should be, here we have date of birth. Oh, and it's very simple. It's just called Wikibase time here in Wikibase. So I'll copy, I don't need to copy because there should probably be an autocomplete here. So here we're back. So we want the property item to have Wikibase property type, and the property type should be a Wikibase time with capital T, not time value. That one we want. And if I would run it now, it would say that any of these should have a property of that type. So this list of spaceflight should go away, but this one should be still here. So let's try it, see if it actually works. And then what I want to add after this is the filtering for time. So we want only things with the date in the space of the entire 2022. So we could also get some future events, but we don't want anything in 2023. Thinking about it, there are probably some items that should have the title 2022 that occurred in 2021 or in 2023. I don't know exactly. Perhaps a prize for 2022 is going to be awarded in 2023. But let's see if we get something here. If we get the, yes, so we still got the Colorado wildfires here. And then we get, and also here, we get all of these are in this different languages here. This is expected to actually catch them. So we'll try to increase the limit later, or also you could try to filter for one language to just get more items in. All right, so still on track here. So now let's try to add a filter here. And I find these filters to be quite tricky to write when you try to find something when you want before a date and after a date. But luckily, people have been writing this all the time, and there are a few of them in the examples. So you can look for one of those and just copy and paste and change it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm not going to try to write this from scratch because it's so easy to get it wrong because dates are complicated to write in the query service. So let's try to find an example. And I think what I found here, if I use search for before, I will find. Now let's see, which one was it? This one is a good one. People elevated in the public domain in 2020. So let's open that in a new tab. And it's a lot of things going on, but here's the important row. We see a filter that someone died in just 1 year. So that's what we're going to use and copy and paste and change. I'll copy that, go back to here, remove my starting filter and just add it. Now we didn't have a death, we do have a date. We have a date over here as well. We do not want 1969. And you see here it's more than or equal. So we'll go, this will be 2022. So from the very first second of 2022. And then this one is less than. So we'll go with less than 2023. So it will be all the time, even if they decide to add a leap second in the end of the year, we will get it. They usually don't add it in the end of the year, so that's good as well. But now this one should filter out anything that had 22 in the title but didn't have a filter with a date. So we should still get the Colorado wildfires and probably this one as well. So let's try and run it and just see if it doesn't break. We'll see what we get here. And then, of course, this is now giving me sort of the opposite of what I was trying to do. It's finding me the things that have it. So we have to turn this into a minus or something. And well, of course, happy New Year, Anne, and hi, Vera. We'll see here if we come to hopefully not a timeout.
Let's see if it's actually a Happy New Year or if it's a timeout year.
Yes. Starting with a timeout immediately. No, it worked 45 seconds. So, and still all the same things. So it works as expected. And now I want to turn this into, and I think we should just be able to do a minus. And then in the end here, well, not end there, this line. Oh, that was a lot of spaces in the end of this line. I'm going to remove some of these. Let's do that. So now, this is one of the nice thing with minus, or not minus in general, but with the query service is that you don't not just need to do minus of one thing. You can do like an entire subset of things, so and then group them together. And all of these that are true for these, I don't want them. And this is exactly what we want right now. So because in here we find all the things that are having any date property with some value of 2022, and we say we don't want them. Let's remove them. So hopefully now, if I run this, none of these will come up. We'll get 10 new items.
Right.
If it doesn't.
Minus is actually super efficient in that way because it actually runs everything inside of minus and then just compare the two lists and removes things.
So it's also an effective way to do it.
It depends, but sometimes filter not is much more efficient because it actually don't need to deal with those items at all.
Yeah.
But yeah. But it makes it very flexible as you're showcasing here because you can just include entire section.
Yes. And I didn't really go into it here, but filter and minus, they work very differently. So filter itself, it compares something here. We have a bigger than and then a value. And then it actually uses this clever little thing that is an and. So both of these statements need to be true for the filter to be correct. Oh no, we got a timeout. That's very unfortunate. So I think here it is the number of labels we have to work with is a little bit too. So I'll try to filter it down even further here to only work with one language. That should like reduce possibly millions of items for it to work with. So we can add a filter here, and there's a very handy thing for this where you can just ask it for be a lang, which is a language of something. And here we want to use the item label, and we want it to be equal to, and then here you would set the language variable. I'll go with English for now. That's probably, you could change that to something else if you want less, because English is one of the common, but let's see if this reduces enough to make it run. And in this query in the end, we'll have a lot of like useful small details. We do have this language, which is this combination is another way to, instead of using the entire service, Wikibase service for labels that you can use, which is very simple. This one can be handy in some specific cases. I'm not really sure if the other one is quicker or if it's optimized in some clever way, but this is sort of doing similar thing, but I guess with the proper or the raw Sparkle.
Indeed.
And the contains is also very handy, and minus. And this filter is something that, oh yes, we did get some results here. All right. So, all right, this is something that's going to be in the future. So let's take a look at that. So the Winter Olympics, I guess it's in February sometime.
It starts in February?
Yeah, I think
at least.
It might go into March, but either way, it's a few months from now. And it is a closing ceremony. We're pretty sure it's going to take place, but we don't, opposite of here, that's a little bit funny. It's not really the opposite, or it might be. Yes. But I guess later on, this will get a date. It could possibly have a date with a qualifier like expected value or something like that already. So this now is sort of a working list for things that possibly should be done during this year. Oh, we do get 2022. This is not the item for the year 2022. Oh, it's the Ethiopian year of 2022. Interesting.
Right.
Yes. All right. And it's different from the yes, from the 2022 of this. All right. So this might have a start date and an end date with the Julian calendar, I guess.
Indeed. And I imagine that's true for all of those years in that calendar.
But there might not be in 2022. That might be a totally different time.
Indeed.
I don't know. We do have the 2018 to 2022 legislative term. Is this the Swedish one? This is the Hungarian one. All right. So this one is going to end during this year sometime. We do have the inception. I would rather go with start date for something like this.
Yeah, start time.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I'm not going to change it now, but I guess this could also have an expected end date. So here's and we do have Wikimania 22. Oh, here we do have the 2022 Swedish Riksdag. We do have an expected end date for that. They just announced the Wikimania to be online virtual this year again. I don't remember them announcing a date yet. So
no.
So this is sort of like, this is the query I wanted to get to today. So I'm going to share this one. 4S. Oh, I should have, this should have been another. I'm a sort of little bit of a, I like fun short URLs, and this would be for aces in Swedish. So would have done something with a query for that. But sometimes you get what you want. So this was, I'll post this. I both post this in the chat, so you can click it, but I'll add it for the banner because I don't think that goes out to all of the platforms. So but it's also not a very complicated one for you to press.
Nice.
All right.
And I'm gonna start with a public service announcement that you can find our former episodes and things like that over at the MetaWiki, and you can also use that discussion page to propose new things. And I'm also gonna do another public service announcement here because something I always find myself wondering when I link to those pages is where do I find that link shortener of words? And you can of course go to special pages and things like that, but there is actually a very neat trick. It's just go to v.wiki, and that will redirect you to the URL shortener. And if you didn't know that, that's a trick of mine for you. But that said, I want to get started with some Wikidata editing. And just like Jan, I'm gonna head over to the query service. And I want to make a query of things that we actually know will happen in 2022. So rather than do what Jan did and use the label, I want to use the year. And then I want to do some casual editing and browse through that list, see what I find. Maybe I find some errors, maybe I find some interesting events to improve upon, things like that. But to get started here, I'm gonna do a regular select. I always start with select star just to make a boilerplate of my query. And I add something there later on. And let's select, we want an item. We want it to be an event or subclass of event. Instance of DBT. So class, there we go. And I want to star there. And I want to find event. I think that's it. Something like that should be good. And to make sure it is in 2020, I think I'm gonna use I kind of got two options here, the point in time or the start date. I'm thinking because I've selected event, it usually have a start and the end date. So I'm gonna go with start time, which I think is the actual name for the property. Item DDT start time. It's gonna call that time because I don't really care about end time at this point. And then I need to use that neat filtering here. And I'm selecting time there, but I just care about the year. So I can actually do something like, if I can spell it, year, and then put the time in here, time. And that will essentially just give me the time, like 2022, if it is in 2022. And then I want to ensure that it is in 2022. So I want to say equal to and 2022, and without like any what is it called now? Citation marks.
Yeah.
Because this actually returns an integer, so a number.
Ah.
And for that, you don't need to put anything like that. And while I could run this already, I'm actually gonna skip that and go with adding the service and the labels and so on. Otherwise, I would usually run a couple of queries and get like everything so I can catch errors and then change my variables I select here. And item, don't really care about the time because it will always be the same, but I want the item label. And let's see here. This is a rather big query. Let's see what we retrieve. Considering that your query worked, John, this should work as well.
Yes. If you
Alter, I don't have a. Oh, it worked
oh,
anyway.
only 229. All right.
Only 229. Right. Um.
Still a good look into the future.
Yeah. And actually, I'm pretty sure I ran this morning and it has increased.
All right.
So people have been working on 2022. Okay.
It's
Coding Da
not very
Vinci.
surprising though.
No, it's not very surprising. This is a hackathon, which I happens to know a little bit about. So I'm gonna open that into have a look at it. This is a lot of sports here.
Yes.
Um,
Oh, and then we do have another interesting conference coming up there. LD4 is
LD4
linked
conference.
data.
Let's open up that one as well. And here we got the Semantic Web Conference. I want to open that as well. Here we got something with just the queue numbers. I'm thinking
All right.
I might be able to improve upon it. I think we might start with something like that. Glam Hackathon, that's very true. It's a recurring event, seems rather well modeled. Start date, end date, organizer, official website. It even got a hashtag.
Well, I thought Wikimedia Germany were part of this Coding Da Vinci initiative.
Yeah, they were a funding member once upon a time. I think they changed it up like last year or 2 years ago.
All right.
I'm not sure that Wikimedia Deutschland is not involved anymore, but I know they changed things.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, this looks like a good item to me. I'm not gonna. I could add a Swedish label, but it's not like you would usually search for it in English, I believe.
Yeah, I also noticed now the difference because I haven't seen your screen for a long while. You using the compact items layout from the gadgets?
Yes, I do. So I don't need to scroll as much anymore.
No.
I think we had like an episode with a theme around what gadgets we used, and I think I turned this one on. And it's great. I highly recommend it.
I think at that time it was still a user script, but it has become graduated to a gadget since then.
Yeah, indeed. I still use the user script because I haven't updated. Oh, this is interesting. Let's see here. So we got a conference, and it's an instance of what the series it's a part of. I imagine. I want to open this one and you see what happens. And it follows that one. That's true. Start time, end date, location, internet. Yeah, let's see here. So this is a conference series, and this is an instance of, but it's not. Yeah. It's a part of that conference series, but I'm not 100% sure how that is modeled. So I actually want to look it up if it's part of.
I think you can look at sort of like at Wikimania, the item for it.
Exactly. I'm gonna look at Wikimania. Let's do 2022 because. And let's see what's happening. Instance of Wikimania.
Go to 2021 instead.
Yeah, it might be better modeled at this time. 2021. But it still says that. Let's see how it's.
It also has the part of the series in it.
Instance of annual conference. It has the part of series at least. That's one I want to make sure we got. Followed by is there. Edition number. Hello everyone. Official website. Okay. So let's see what we can do. We want to say part of series at least. And I wonder why does this reason. Okay, right. We can actually fix that, I believe. If I open up that, let's see what this subclass of reoccurring event and convention. So subclass of reoccurring event.
Mm-hmm. We don't know.
Indeed.
Oh, just
That's an
recurring.
interesting.
No O either. Recurring.
What?
You.
There we go. And it's also a subclass of what was Wikimania? That's 2021 convention. Is it a subclass of convention? Reoccurring event is in an improvement.
Yeah.
Then it's field of work. I guess I don't think we use it here.
Not field of work, no. You can
No.
move that to main subject, perhaps?
Exactly. I'm thinking, I mean, when you're thinking about like academic conferences, I imagine field of work makes kind of sense when you just see the label here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should move this to field of work. Oh, to main subject. And that's... Can I autocomplete it?
No. But it's P921.
P91. This is one.
921.
921.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's...
now I recognize it as well. And I want to move it. There we go. And if I reload this, we should see the change. Okay. This was the main item I was working on. So I want to say that it's part of series. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Part of the series, right? Oops. Series. And then I want to write LD4. LD4 conference. And this also appears to be giving me a hint about how many there will be. But I want to add here follows, because I want to essentially move this, because we generally do this. This one, there we go.
I kind of like them as main statements.
You like
also
the main statements?
Yeah.
Do we have it on Wikimania as well?
I don't think so. I might be in minority here, but I find it to be a simple and obvious way to do it.
Yeah, I understand why people feel that way. Let's leave it at that. What do we complain about? Should be following classes or subclass of it. Reoccurring event edition. So something that's so. Yeah, okay.
You
so
can
we can
change
actually,
that one. Yeah.
It's not perfect, but this becomes more specified, and we generally like as specify specific values as possible. So
yeah,
it's an improvement. Let's see. Let's take down those, and we head over to the 21st International Semantic Web Conference.
And I'm just gonna. The move claims is in the settings, and I think Jane is right. It's under gadgets.
Indeed. I think I got a warning there because I still use a user script of some kind.
Yes.
You might have catched that as well. Again, I'm behind on those type of things. So you got a short name. It's an academic conference. It's in China. Part of the series. It's the 21st one. Here it's using the main subject.
Nice.
Yeah, here we got the flag. Language of work or name. I'm betting it's English. It is English. That's great. So No, I just need to click that one. Language of work or name. There we go. I think it got pretty much everything I... Of course, I could do follows.
Follows.
And it should be... Can I just copy the label and it allowed to complete? Because I imagine there are a lot of things that are the 20th of something. Let's see, why doesn't it play with me? Because I'm doing it wrong, of course. That adds this is the tricky thing when you're using this compact. It's not necessarily easy to catch what all the buttons do. Let's see here. And I just said I wanted follows. And I'm gonna paste the current one in and just replace this with 20. And I replaced too much. And there we go.
Yeah. And one thing that I like about doing it as a main statement is that if it doesn't point back from the other item, you get a suggestion that it should probably do it. But when you have it as an qualifier, you don't get that.
Do we get any warnings on qualifiers? Or is that like a general issue?
That's a very good question. I don't know.
I imagine it could be the later, and it's just not the capability the UI got.
Yet,
exactly, because otherwise we could probably fix it somehow.
Yeah.
Right. Let's see what this could be about. An open access day, if I understand it correctly, and it's a conference.
Nice.
I imagine.
In September. All right. So I guess that's during the open access week, which is in the fall at least. Maybe it's too early. I don't know. Do we have an item for open access week?
Let's see what happens if we click on open access day. We don't have Wikipedia articles. We can check there. Annual academic conference. Let's see. Open access. Let's see, we got a Twitter username. Let's see if it says something on the web page. It says a lot of things. It's September 19 to 21.
And it's open access days, I guess. It's in plural.
Indeed, open access days. Right. I think what we can do is to add an English description, at least.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I don't want to add a label. I imagine the German one is the known one. I imagine I can actually make the claim that it's about open access.
Yes.
And there we go. I imagine I can also do a main subject.
Mm-hmm.
Main subject. Free distribution of knowledge. That should be it. And a slight improvement.
Yeah.
Happy with that. Let's see. WISCOM 2022. That sounds interesting. Climate change conference.
Yeah, I think that the name of the 36th AAAI conference seems to imply that we could the next one. That one, we could add the series ordinal to it. because it's in the title.
Indeed.
Oh, there's an election coming up as well. Yes, nice.
Oh, you found an election.
Yes, a little bit up, the Italian presidential election. No, a little bit down, under the speed skating. There you go.
There we go. Let's have a look at that as well. Let's start with that. WisCom 2022. We got the English description, academic conference, main subject, a bunch of them, organizer, official website, another German conference here.
Mm-hmm. Looks quite good.
It looks quite good. Is it a part of a series? It's not. I would imagine so, but it's.
Is there an item for the general WisCom?
That's a good question. Let's just see if it autocompletes something. No.
Oh no. All right.
So I'm gonna skip that one. It looked rather good to me as it was. 2022 United Nations Climate Change Conference. There we go. We got. Have you been editing this, Jan?
I haven't yet.
You haven't yet. Okay. I see a Swedish description here. That's why. COPE 27.
Maybe I did. I don't know. I actually made a meme about that yesterday. About who edited this, and then you go look, and oh yeah, it was me.
Not too recently.
Stefan Wallin sounds very Swedish.
Right, indeed. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this one. I imagine we will get back to it. I'm pretty sure we are.
Did it have dates already?
It did.
All right. Yes, that's why you found it.
Academic conference. Oh, it got series original. So
yeah, and you, as Vera says, you can also add the edition number.
Let's see. I can even do this on this one. So let's see. Edition number. And that's it, I believe. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the election. Oh, here we got instance of election and instance of Italian
we don't need both.
Election. No, we want the most specific ones.
Yeah.
At least when they overlap as much as this.
Yes.
There we go.
And when one is a subclass of the other in the tree.
Right, and it follows the 2015. I'm sure that's right. Office contested. Oh, that's a nice one we got.
Yes, that's a really nice one to have for elections.
Yeah. Country applies jurisdiction, follows point in time, start time. It looks good to me.
Yeah.
Happy with that. Let's see here.
Oh, it's already in January?
Yeah, it might have been. No, when I closed it.
No, but it had a point in time, January, but it didn't have more specific date. But if it's in January, there should be a specific date, I guess.
Oh.
It's a start time.
Oh, it's point in time and then start time. So we are currently missing the end time. And I imagine that could kind of be true. Because you could be... No, maybe not. Or it depends on when does an election end. When the counting is finished or when the last person has voted.
Yeah, I would say as long as the election booths are open, it continues. And it could be a multi-day.
Yeah.
Especially in these times. I know several countries have prolonged their elections.
I imagine someone will get back to this item when it's over.
Yeah, that
so I'm gonna leave it for now.
Yeah.
And I'm not an expert in Italian elections either. Something I noticed actually last time I browsed this just now before we went into those items was this. And it seems to say Sami National Day, but it doesn't say 2022.
Oh, yeah.
And that to me is a bit of a warning sign. So let's see if this is actually about the one in 2022 or the generic one. because yeah, let's see here. This just is an instance of National Day. It's not an instance of the 2022 National Day. Um, yeah, here we go. So this is reoccurring. So this is the day in the year,
Yes.
February 6th. And then I got start time, which is, it might have a start time because they might have had the first ones,
Yeah,
but
but that
it's
should
not.
be Inception.
Indeed, that should be Inception as well.
And it's not 2022 because this one has been before.
Indeed. So this one is just shouldn't be here
No,
essentially.
it's just wrong.
If we head over to the English one, we might be able to put an Inception here because I
Yeah.
think putting an Inception here would make it like it would clarify this
Yeah.
so that someone doesn't go here and add a
Yes.
start time. So it's the National Day. It's February 6th. It's 1917.
No, that's what is. You see, in the next paragraph, you
Yeah,
have the first time Sami National Day was celebrated was in 1993, and a source.
okay, yeah, right. It's the date when the first Sami Congress was held.
Yeah, so it commemorates that one.
Yeah, okay. And in 1992, it was a resolution passed about this, and it was celebrated in 1993. Okay, there we go. And then when it's incepted, is it when it was they had a conference and said no, we're gonna have it, or when they celebrated the first time?
Yes, that's a good question. I I don't know. We might take a closer look at the property, perhaps.
Yeah, let's. I'm gonna. Do I have my Wikidata extension ID? Right. Can I just do like that?
Yeah.
I can. As defined. So I imagine that's when they decide about having it.
Yeah, it also says like established, establishment date, date of incorporation, date of founding. Yeah, I think when the decision was made is correct here.
Yeah. Let's see. Did we have?
1992.
We only got the year, but we do have a source.
Yes.
Yeah, it might not be helpful. Let's go with 1992 to have something there. My main goal here, as I said, was to make sure that no one ends up adding that start time once again. There we go.
But do we want to have the 6th of February 1993 as the start date then? Because that was the first time it was actually.
Yeah, that's my wondering. That's a good question. Start time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you.
It makes some sort of sense at least.
Does it understand that format?
Uh-huh.
It does. That's great. This is really one of the really great things about the Wikidata UI. You can put in a date in a ton of various formats and it just understands you. I just didn't want to spell out February here, so I just left it at Feb. And also this order, it's nothing I would write regularly. It was just what happened in my head. Like I first got the year and then I got the date and it got it for me. That's let's see. It complains we got both of them. I disagree with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna leave it.
Yeah.
If someone feels strongly about this, feel free to go ahead and deal with it. It's a wiki.
Yes. At least you got sort of the facts in there, and now we can put them in the right place.
we solved an actual issue there, and then if someone wants to improve upon it,
Yeah.
that would be great. And like that, I pretty much done here. But
All
one
right.
can spend a ton of time in this one, I'm sure. And for that reason, I'm gonna share the query
All
if I
right.
succeed.
And do you also have the link, because in the previous episode you made a query with upcoming calendar events that was like a quite extensive one. That one
Yeah,
might also be useful for people now.
in our past, I do have this awareness day calendar we have.
Yes, that was the one I was thinking of.
Let's see. Now I'm starting my big query library here on daughter's side.
Yeah,
I wish this,
because that one was nicely sorted through what's happened next, and
Yeah.
it also took account the current date, so you didn't get things that you already happened.
Indeed. Let's see. I'm gonna open it here on the screen to begin with. I'm not 100% sure that
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking
this
of.
is this is a long one.
Yeah.
Let's see if it can actually generate.
Oh, it did.
If it can actually generate a short URL. But this is great. This is what Jan and I use behind the scenes sometimes to see, like, do we want to do something with a specific theme? And then we can go here and actually, like, yeah, on Saturday when we're streaming, it's the Charles Darwin Day. Maybe we do something about that.
Yes.
And it already, for example, we don't see any events in January.
That's strange.
Oddly enough.
Yeah.
But it just cuts out the past dates here.
Yeah.
So this is great. Let's see if it can make it. No.
Nah.
Okay. Let's quickly make a tiny URL for it, because that tends to. No. Okay, that didn't work either. No. Okay, I'm not succeeding today. So
then we have a cliffhanger for a future episode.
Yeah, that's a cliffhanger for a future episode. I think if you are looking through or archive, which you find on this link, I believe.
Yeah.
Then you can actually find it there, because I'm pretty sure it's in the description there as awareness day or awareness day calendar or something like that.
And I just want to highlight one awareness day from that Jane mentions here, the public domain day. That's usually, like, it's officially the January 1st, because that's when things fall into the public domain every year. But of course, there also the work you can't really do all the things in one day, so you have to spend some time, and
Indeed,
can affect both, I guess, perhaps mostly commons and Wikisource, but perhaps we update Wikidata a little bit as well.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of those copyright status properties, which are super really useful for finding things. Yeah, at least partly.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's it for today then, and we haven't decided on a theme for next week, but we will be back.
Indeed.
And until then, happy editing.
Happy editing.